What's up, everybody? It's Marcus D'Angelo. We are back for another episode of the Hacksaw Hour. And of course, I could never do it without the man himself, WWE Hall of Famer, and the man who defeated Dino Bravo 35 years ago today in the SkyDome. It's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. What's going on, man?
What's going good? I tell you what, Marcus, I haven't talked to you since my European tour.
That's right.
And quite a trip it was, brother. My daughters, they flew right straight to Glasgow, but Deborah and I, we flew from Charlotte to London, had a layover in London and flew to Hamburg, had this guy named Marcus pick us up and drive us. We had about a 2-hour drive to the hotel. But anyway, so, we flew all night. I had a little bit to eat on the plane. I got to London. I had to make a rush to the bathroom right off the bat, and then that cleared up a little bit. So I'm standing in line waiting for a shuttle bus, and I'm like, oh, I get sick a lot with all the medicine. I had to make a beeline to the bathroom in London. I had to cut the line. Everybody's standing politely in line in London, England, and they're like, an American coming through. So I lose it there in London pretty good. So now I feel better. Now we fly into Germany. The kid picks us up, and we're in a nice van, and we're driving, and now Deborah's in the back seat. I'm not feeling good. And my wife I can count on my hand how many times she's actually physically thrown up hard. And so we're in the van, and now we get off the Autobahn, and you talk about some people flying.
Not a good spot for this.
Yeah, well, it was fun being on that thing, yeah. And our guy was cooking, But anyway, so now we're off the hot main Autobahn, and we're going through these little villages to get to where the hotel is. We're almost in the middle of this little town with a traffic circle in the middle of it. Deborah's like, roll down the window. And the guy's like, the window don't roll down.
Oh, no.
And she said, pull over. And, man, as soon as he pulled over, man, she slides the door open. She starts to get sick hanging out of the van. I jump out from the passenger seat. I grab her by a ponytail. I'm holding a ponytail. She's getting sick. People are walking through this little German town again. Americans.
These damn Americans.
Welcome. Oh.
Yikes.
And not to mention, now you're kind of jet lagged out and everything. So now, I mean, what a hotel. That wasn't a hotel. It was a travel house. Mm-hmm. So it was out. I don't know why they picked this town. It's out in the middle. I thought I lived in the country. We were in the country. There were chickens and deer and cows and all kinds of stuff. Tractors going up and down the road. But we had this quaint little room. In a king bed, they just pushed two twins together. So they had this middle of the night, you fall in between them, But anyway, so we, finally get some sleep. We're dead tired, we're beat. We get up in the morning, we go down to have breakfast. I didn't recognize anything. I didn't know the cereal didn't look right. I'm like, I don't know what is this shit. I don't know. That's the way my gut's been, honey. I'm not eating nothing. She tried a piece of bread like a chickmunk,
So you guys had what, the stomach bug then?
No, just it wasn't food poisoning. I think it was just the food on the airplane just didn't agree with it, especially me. I mean, I get sick of the drop of the hat with all the medicine I'm on, but for Deborah to get ill, plus all the travel. And anyway, so the Marcus picks us up, and, we get in the van, and we got this kid that works from England and his girlfriend in the van. I'm like, holy shit, now we're jammed in the van a little bit. But anyway, it came in handy because we're driving down the road, and what do we see? This huge beacon shining. Happy to see it, a big, huge, giant M.
Oh, all right.
McDonald's!
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I told you many times, man. If you're a wrestler, you learn that you like McDonald's because it's a lot what you can find on the road a lot.
Yep.
So we go to McDonald's. Deborah jumps out. I stay in the van. She goes in. All she's got is pounds. in dollars. He has no euros. So it worked out. The English kid gave us some money. We paid him back.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and then we went to the show, and what a great show, man! What German fans came out. We had a huge, like, 2 hour meet and greet that we had to cut short. Folks coming up, they had some great memorabilia, had some great questions and everything. And then, though, the only thing is the kid we're riding with is the main event. So I do
Oh.
the 2 hour plus meet and greet and do the opening, and now I'm like, okay, let's get out of here. They're like, no, no, we're here to the bitter end.
Oh, man.
And so, man, so that made the day much longer. And but anyway, we got to our travel house hotel, spent the night, got up the next morning, flew from Germany to Scotland, London, and then to Scotland and to Glasgow. And we spent a few days in Glasgow, had a great time, went to the museums, went around town. The fans were happy. People recognized it. Amazing, I mean, you think Tom Brady could walk around Glasgow, Scotland, and nobody's going to go, oh, hey, Tom. People are like, there's Hacksaw. And we would find a little coffee shop in the square. I'd camp out in a nice comfy chair like this. Deborah would give me a scone and a nice coffee. Her and the girls would run off explore, and I'd sit there watching the town buzz around. And then we had 3 stand-up shows, the one in Glasgow, and one in Manchester, and one at the Dome in London, England. It was pretty cool. And it was great. The fans get a little more reserved than Americans. I don't think they're used to guys telling funny stories. Either that or I was just bombing real bad. This is
So
my
they were a little
best
more
Andre
polite.
stuff. Come on, guys. What the hell, But we had a great response. A lot of meet and greet after the show. Sold out of all the 2x4s, all the action figures we brought. It was a great trip. Flying back, nice and easy. We flew from London right to Charlotte. And we get to Charlotte. This was even greater. We get to Charlotte. Everybody's beat. And it's like a rush. Everybody gets off the plane. And it's a rush to get to customs. It's just a it's a line. So the sooner you get there, the better. Everybody's rushing. I'm wide open. And Deborah, she had knee surgery, so she's going the other way. We're like the odd couple. Boom, 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 boom. I was walking behind her, and I'm limping one way. She's limping the other. I said, if somebody's behind me, they're having a hell of a show.
Man, what a journey you guys had.
Yeah, so we get to the customs, and Border Patrol guy looks at him and goes, Hacksaw. I'm like, oh.
It wasn't me.
And he goes, Deborah. I'm like, yeah, here, take the heat, honey. They were big, huge fans. They've been following me on social media. They knew I was coming in. They were looking for me.
All right.
So we're standing in line, and the guy goes, you've been trying to do that global entry, haven't you? And I said, yeah, because it's like a pre-check for global. You don't have to go through customs and everything, but it's hard to get. I've been trying to get it for a while. You have to do an interview, you have to be fingerprinted. I mean, it's a big, big deal. And it's a pain in the ass to go all the way up to Charlotte to get it done. So the guy goes, and Deborah too. He goes, you've been trying to do global. And we were like, yeah. He goes, cut my line. He cut his line, took us out of line. Took us over to the global people. We got our fingerprints, got our picture, got our global entry. They took great care of us, the Border Patrol guys. They took pictures with everybody, and it was a great trip, a beautiful trip over there.
Man, how about that, man? And it's so cool. As you were describing, just walking through a little place over there in Scotland, and people are recognizing you. That's got to be the most surreal feeling ever, where you're on a plane forever. You're all the way across the world, and people still know exactly who you are.
And I haven't been on TV for ever, really. I mean, for people still to remember, and of course, I haven't changed at all. I look the same I did 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Even better, maybe.
Yeah. And people pull Hacksaw up. We talked before. It's humbling to have folks stand in line and buy your picture. I mean, come on, holy smokes, God bless them, man. And nice. That's why I try to have a good time on my show. The German guy, he's like getting nervous in front of all these people. I said, no, it's like talking to a room full of old friends,
Yeah.
Everybody's there to see me. Everybody's in a good mood. I have a great time up there. Actually, the German guys, they do it different than America. I do a show. I got the 4 stories about Jake, 4 about Andre, 3 about DiBiase, 2 about, Undertaker. So I follow a formula. A lot of guys just go out there and wing it,
Mm-hmm.
But this guy went over there and I sat and we did it. It was more a Q&A. So it was easy. But he's like, I never had people hold it before. I said, I hope not. Shit, what the hell?
Yeah, gee, what kind of show you running?
But my Ric Flair joke, I mean, right off the bat, I come out, I give everybody, ho, ho. I said, guys, every time you see Flair, it's like, how you doing, Rick? Woo! I'm like, Rick, are your trunks too tight? Boom, boom.
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's a tough crowd. Oh, boy.
Yeah. But no, we had a good time. I'd do it again in a minute. Oh, I'd like to set up a longer tour because just by the time you get your body acclimated to the time, you're back. But it was only 4 hours in England, so it wasn't too bad.
I am 100% certain they'd love to have you back there. So I'm sure it'll be coming probably next year, the next year, or something like that. But
oh yeah,
man,
we got WrestleMania coming up, so we'll be out in Las Vegas for quite a while, and then we got that charity event we do out in Cody, Wyoming. We go out. We're flying into Bozeman, Montana.
yeah,
So that should be quite a trip later on in the year. So we got a couple more big trips coming up.
So far. And by the way, folks, if you want to book Hacksaw for your event, you go to bookhacksawduggan@gmail.com. That's a way to get them there. But man, I'm going to be in Vegas too. Looking forward to seeing you and Deborah in person out there and getting to hang out for Mania and WrestleCon and all that. Should be a good time, right, Jim?
Well, I'm going to do my Marcus deal that I did with you in Pittsburgh, They're like, this guy's here to meet you. I'm like, who? The guy's like, Marcus. I don't know him.
You almost got me
Marcus
thrown
like,
out of
it's me, Hacksaw. How you doing? I'm like, who is this guy? Security.
Almost got me thrown out of the Riverhound state.
Deborah's like, don't do that, Jim.
I loved it. And, speaking of WrestleMania, by the way, of course, it is WrestleMania season. And today, Jim, I mentioned it at the top of the show. Today, right now, as we're recording, it's Tuesday, and it's the 35th anniversary of WrestleMania 6 and your match with Dino Bravo. Man, does it feel like 35 years ago to you?
Yeah, time flies, though. It blows by. But especially when you look through that roster and like, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. He should be gone. That's why I see Jake. I take his pulse. Yeah, he's still going. May not look like it, but he's still going.
It is like, as I was going through like the list of matches, there were 16 matches on this, and as I'm going through it, I was like, wow, a lot of these people are deceased now. Just kind of like speaks to the lifestyle. But this event, Jim,
Well, Dino is a whole different lifestyle for him. Everybody else was doing drugs, and I'm like, no, not Dino. No, really, what happened to Dino? I'm like, he got murdered at home with 5 shots in the back of the head.
Yeah, like mob-related death.
No, shit, no.
Boy, that's a new one in wrestling. Well, man, all these years later, 35 years later, a lot of people view this as the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and we're going to dig into it. Before we do, though,
thanks. I thought I had a pretty good match.
Well, you guys were clearly the highlight of the show, yourself and Dino. Forget about Warrior Hogan.
Thank God for Richie Martin out there.
Yeah,
was Warrior on the card? I don't remember.
That guy. He had a pretty decent night. But before we do start talking about the event, though, I do want to talk about some stuff that was going on in the company at the time. The really big news of the period is that the WWF is looking at bringing in Mike Tyson as a special guest referee for one of the NBC specials. Man, to say that getting Mike Tyson would be huge for this period is an understatement. He was like the biggest, most polarizing athlete in the world. However, Buster Douglas is going to knock Mike Tyson out in the Tokyo Dome in February 1990. Despite 42-1 odds, he still knocks Tyson out over there. And so Tyson's going to withdraw from the booking, and Buster Douglas comes in instead. Jim, I mean, were you excited at the prospect of having Mike Tyson come in? Are you a boxing fan?
No, not really. But if you look back to the Superdome show we did, Muhammad Ali was at
Yeah.
the Superdome show. So as great as Tyson is, we had the greatest of all time at our show down in the Superdome with Muhammad Ali. But yeah, it was great. I think, I think he should have kept the booking, even though he got beat. I think he would have brought more notoriety to WrestleMania than
Buster
Buster.
Douglas,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, Mike Tyson, win or lose. I mean, I think he still would have brought more. But again, a lot of stuff was going on backstage. I'm going, oh no shit. I didn't pay attention to a whole lot back then. I wish, go look. If talk about regrets, I guess I wish I paid more attention to what was going on. I took care of my business. I didn't really worry about, the politics.
Something to be said for your approach, Jim. You had 40 years in the business, so
Yeah, I
maybe
stuck around, man.
maybe your approach is the right way. Not everybody was so lucky. Buster Douglas is going to receive $100,000 for his one night appearance with the WWF. Pretty nice chunk of change. Jim, do you see the value
Yeah,
in
that's
bringing
what I
in?
got. I got for the year.
That's for the year. Man, how do the boys react when a celebrity's brought in and makes that kind of money for essentially doing nothing, just coming out on TV?
Yeah, well, I don't. Nobody's ever happy about it. I mean, they're like, "Oh shit, they're giving this guy all the money." Isn't that great? Everybody, you son of a.
Oh, man.
No, yeah, I mean, but it was a formula that was working. From Sidney Lauper at WrestleMania 1 to boom, boom, boom. Everybody's brought in to Drew Carey. I mean, bringing that celebrity. I don't know if it's needed, really.
I think the fans
Especially
are
nowadays
excited.
because the celebrities just want to come anyway.
Fans are excited enough about the wrestling. The wrestling fans, it's like
Right. Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
fun.
In the beginning, I think it helped with the crossover with the Rock and wrestling and all that. And Vanna White coming in gave it a lot more mainstream stuff. Back then, I think it was more important than it is now. Now the show carries itself on its own. It's not really who gives a darn about the card. It's WrestleMania.
That's it. The show is the big event, not
Yeah, where
whatever match.
before Hogan, Warrior, Hogan, Andre, the card meant a lot more back in the day. Now it's Barnum and Bailey's coming to town. We're not going to talk about the lion tamer or the acrobat. It's the circus, which
Exactly.
it works. I mean, thank goodness. Like I said, walking around Scotland, hey ho,
Yeah, they did something right with their
you leave my
marketing.
wife alone, buddy.
It's all right, back up, pal. And now it's like, WrestleMania is 2 nights. The ticket prices are absolutely crazy.
A lot of fans complain about that, man.
Yeah.
A lot of fans are complaining about ticket prices. They really are. And then programs and a T-shirt and a hat. I mean, and if you got 2 kids, or imagine having 4 kids or something that really are big into parking. Yeah, concessions. I mean, it's a huge moneymaker, but it'd be good to give the fans a break. I think that would work.
They know the diehard fans are going to pay it. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, man, where it's like people want to
Yeah,
be at the Super
ringside,
Bowl. And
man. Well, go ahead and keep your ringside seats up, I guess, because those people are the wealthy folks that have a lot of money, and you take that money. But the folks that are up in the stands, give them a break.
Absolutely, man. I was at WrestleMania. Gosh, it was like 12 years ago. I think I spent $60 on nosebleed tickets. Now I've seen those tickets going for about $500.
Yeah.
Pretty
And that's
stiff.
too bad, but that's great for the guys and the business, but hard for the fans. Sooner or later, they got to say, "Hey, enough's enough." But I mean, Vince, years ago when we first went over to England, and we were going back and forth a lot, and I was on the plane with Vince, and I said, "Why don't you drag it out a little bit, space it out. He said, no, hit it while it's hot. It's hot right now. We're taking it now. Boom. And so the business is hot. I think they'll keep the ticket prices up. But but I always thought, well, think long run it down. And Vince was like, no, it's hot right now. That pendulum might swing the other way. We're going to run it while
There's something to be said for the approach. Make your money while you
Well,
can, and
yeah,
you know
he
it's
was
there.
pretty successful with it.
He did all right. Back during the Royal Rumble in 1990, Hogan and Warrior are going to kind of cross paths for the first time. And while the interaction was brief, the fans definitely responded. It's reported that on the house shows during this period, the crowds are responding way better to Warrior than they are to Hogan. And in some cities, Hogan is even getting booed. So kind of a big change of direction here for Vince and company. What do you think of them putting two baby faces together in the main event? That's not usually a formula that works, right?
No, not really. No, but yeah, it was true to life. Those guys didn't get along. So, I mean, it was a believable deal. But yeah, they were two bigger than life stars. I think, yeah, it was like putting Macho in there with them. That was good, and it worked. They had a good blow off match, relatively. Neither one of them was a great worker. I mean, you're not talking about Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, great workers in the ring. They had Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and they drew tens of thousands of people. I mean, and neither one of them are a wrestler.
And they went 2 minutes. Pretty long match for those two.
That's a long match. It's a long time out there.
It is.
Especially from the bell. You're out there a lot, figure you're going to double your time going around the ring doing your bullshit before they ring the bell.
Yep. Those guys put in the work, and apparently Pat Patterson was training with them. Where this wasn't a match like a lot of you guys back in those days would say, like, I'll see you in the ring, we'll call it, we'll figure it out. They went over it and over it with Pat Patterson over the course of days in a private ring. So, man, it was a pretty choreographed match.
Well, that was the starting of something new, right? I mean, now I think that's pretty common. I think they have a ring stashed away somewhere, and they go over their matches and stuff. But Pat Patterson was groundbreaking in that. Decide to put a ring up somewhere in a ballroom of the hotel and go through the match. Because Hogan could walk and talk. He could do it. Warrior, his best part of the match was running down and shaking the ropes. But hey, my best part was, I'm not criticizing. It worked.
Objectively, Jim, do you think that putting the belt on Warrior was the right choice at the time, despite his limitations? As a reminder for fans, Warrior was working roughly 1 minute most of his matches. He'd come down, shake the ropes. The guy would get a short heat, and that's it.
I didn't realize that was a deal. Now I kind of feel vindicated, right? I just said the best part of his match was running down and shaking the ropes. I did not realize. Usually, by the time he went on, I was long gone, man. Yeah, me and Terry Gordy, Dr. Death, Steve Williams were down the road somewhere, man. By the time that main event hit.
Now, Jim, I've always heard that like sometimes the office would judge you if you just leave right after your match. Sometimes they want guys to stick around. How long did you have to be in the WWF before you felt comfortable just leaving as soon as your match was done?
Well, I told you that joke my first day in. I come into the WWF. And Mid-South was a strong company, but going into WWF, it's a different level. You pull in, they got your security. Okay, you park over here. There's all these 18-wheeler trucks. There's satellite trucks. There's limousines. There's buses, all painted up. You go in, all the hubbub and shit. So that a little intimidating. So there's like 3 hours of show, and you're there. You got to be there like at 11. So you're there to 11 at night sometimes. So I was on the second hour. I'm sitting there, and I got done. I come out. Jake the Snake comes up and goes, "Duggan, you done?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all done, brother." He goes, "Well, let's go." I'm like, "Are you sure, man?" And it's my first day at TV, He's, no, it's okay. Come on, let's go get your stuff. Let's go. So I grab my bag and everything. I jump in the car. We're driving down the road. We're a good half hour down the road, and Jake looks over. He goes, "Man, I can't believe you left TV on your first day." Brother.
Jake, damn.
So that started all the whole ribbon, which went back to a couple nights later. We're in Chicago, and we go to leave, and Jake and I are the last two leaving the building, and we go up, and there's this whole bank of doors, and we open the doors, and we go out, and there's still maybe 200 people out there, and they're all, hey! And you can see the limo way on the far side of the people. You see our limo, So, man, we pull the doors closed, and, Jake's like, what are we going to do, hacker? And I'm like, brother, 1, 2, 3, boom, we'll fight through the people. I'll meet you at the car, brother. I'm with you, hacker. Wait. 1, 2, 3, we open the door. Jake storms out. I pull the door closed behind him. I gave him a 5 count. Nobody saw me. I came out the other door. They're all over Jake. I went around. I'm sitting in the limo waiting for him.
What do you have to say when he got to the limo?
Oh, that just starts the ribbing. There goes story goes after story after story, man. To come back on that one real quick, when we were at the Garden State Parkway at a Roy Rogers, a fast food joint. And Jake got his food, and he's leaving. It's just as he's leaving, like these 2 busloads of young kids come in. And we're on TV, we're hot as can be, everybody's excited. And I got my hat on, my sunglasses and stuff. Jake gets to the door, he turns around and goes, "That's right, folks, Hacksaw Jim Duggan standing right over there." Had a lot of fun on the road with Jake. Jake was, I mentioned, he was a groomsman in my wedding. We've had our falling outs. We've been in and out, but yeah, we've got along for many years.
Like any relationship, but man, Jake, even in the short time I've known him, certainly compared to you, he does not hesitate to rib anybody, no matter who it is. He's more than happy.
Deborah will tell you at her signs at a Comic-Con, I'll be sitting there, I'll turn around, all of a sudden I'll hear all my 2x4s hit the floor. I turn around, all my pictures are all messed up. He'll be running off. Yeah. Last time I did it, his helper was from the Comic-Con, and I don't know if she knew who I was or so. And I come over, I start messing up her pictures, and she grabs my arm like it's just a rib, honey,
Easy.
Like a bunch of 3rd graders,
Well, I did want to ask Jim, like the Warrior and the belt, I know that a lot of guys definitely feel a certain way about him becoming the flag bearer for the company. Certainly Jake has got his opinions, Ted too. How do you feel when it came to that whole thing?
I thought he did. I thought he was the type of guy you need as a world champion. You need somebody like that. He was a jack off. Nobody liked him. He wasn't personable. But I think he was a good standard bearer. I mean, when he walked in, people said, "Oh shit, that's world champion." Hogan walked in, that's world champion. They had that marquee look, and I think that's just a big part of it because a lot of your stuff is outside the ring. Those guys do so much PR and stuff. But yeah, I thought he. More so than a guy that's a great wrestler and low key. I think you'd rather have somebody over the top than somebody that, hey, he can really grapple. He's a hell of a grappler.
Fans don't care.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think they're more into actual wrestling and extremeness. The more extreme, the better.
I'm with you.
There'd be a lot of short careers. Yeah, poof.
Now that I've started wrestling, Jim, one of my favorite phrases that I use for some of the young guys who want to do crazy stuff is, "That doesn't work for me, brother. Let's find a different way, pal."
Yeah. Hit me with an elbow. I'll sell it like off the top rope. I'll sell like a son of a gun. You don't have to do that to me.
Yeah, I'll sell like you shot me.
Give me a really dirty look. Whoa. That was what Papa Shango did to the Warrior, wasn't it? He did the
voodoo.
Warrior, boom, he took the bump.
Well, last question on this before we move on to some of the stuff that was going on with you. Man, like I said, the Warriors getting all yeah, we could talk about Jim, I guess, on his podcast. I mentioned Warriors getting all these really crazy reactions on the house shows. Hogan, not so much. Were you personally beginning to feel like maybe the Hulkamania thing had run its course? It was time to go a different direction?
Yeah, it's hard to stay that hot for that long. And he was hot, you know. And people get, you know, it's just human nature. They get tired of it, you know. How many say your prayers, take your vitamins? Now they want somebody, you know, more extreme. You know, they want somebody antichrist like Austin. You know, you
Mhm.
get guys run their course, and but Hogan, that's why he went down and reinvented himself when the NWO Rocket was going Hall and Nash. The Rocket's going Hall and Nash, Hall and Nash, Hall and Nash. Hogan takes over the and boom. A master move in wrestling. People don't realize that rocket for the NWO was going, and everybody's talking Hall and Nash, and Hogan made the Hollywood Hogan and stole a lot of the steam.
It takes a smart, savvy businessman to be in the right place at the right time
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
He's hung around a while.
Yep, he's done all right for himself. Let's talk about what was going on with you on the way to Mania. One thing that really stuck out to me here, Jim, was that in February 1990, you're going to be taking on Bad News Brown in Minneapolis, and the guest referee for the match is legendary wrestler and a guy who's been called the trainer of champions, Eddie Sharkey. Jim, do you have any recollection of this match at all?
Not at all, buddy.
Do you know who Eddie Sharkey is?
I know the name, but I really don't know who he is. No,
Oh,
I know
okay.
he was a gunner, right? He was a shooter.
Well, yeah, so he was an actual shooter, but then what he's really famous for is he trained like the Road Warriors, the Barbarian, Rick
No,
Rude.
yeah,
Yeah, all
it
the
didn't have very little to do with those guys up there in the Ganya territory. Yeah, I didn't know any of them. Yeah, so yeah, don't remember that in anything in particular.
okay,
He
yeah,
might
and
remember me. I don't know. I tell you that one time I came in the ring, that referee I never worked with before. You know, he's standing in the ring. Oh, Hacksaw! I come out. I got my 2x4. I throw the 2x4 in. I'm storming around the ring. There's a chair. I pick the chair up, throw the chair in the ring. Referee's looking this way. Boom. Hit the referee. He went down like a sniper. Got him.
he didn't know well enough to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, well, look, watch what I'm doing. Pay
Uh-huh.
attention. He's looking over here at some pretty chick. Boom. He goes down. I roll in the ring. I'm like, get up. What the hell? What the hell's wrong with you?
Well, he's got to sell the chair now too, so it looks
Yeah, well, yeah,
legit.
but I didn't know he got hit with a chair, right? I think he's laying there stealing my steam. You know, get up. Shit.
Who is this guy trying to steal
If
my
people are
shit?
watching you instead of Hacksaw do his stuff. Come on, get up. Oh, you hit me with a chair. What?
Well, also on the way to Mania, another thing that really stuck out for me is you're going to team up with the Rockers, and you guys are going to face the Powers of Pain, which is Barbarian and Warlord, and Mr. Fuji. So, Jim, the idea of you getting in the ring and getting your hands on Mr. Fuji sounds like some footage I really need to try and find.
Fuji. I like Fuji. I get along. It was the Demolition, was it?
It was Barbarian and Warlord. Powers of
Barbarian Warlord. Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Now those guys are great guys too, man. Yeah, and I was with Sean and Marty.
Pain. The party animals on one side.
Yeah,
Yourself
well,
included.
anyway, yeah, that was different groups. That definitely ran more with Barb and Warlord than I did with Sean and Marty. But anyway, no, but I like working with those kind of guys, as we discussed before. Being a bigger baby face, I enjoyed working with bigger heels because I couldn't fly, I couldn't do the fancy dance stuff, but with another big man, we could brawl pretty good.
And that's the direction you're going to be going in here after
And
Mania.
Fuji, I thought Fuji was great. The diabolical Mr. Fuji. He looked the part. He was the part. He was diabolical. That's for sure. But yeah, I liked working with Fuji too. I
He was
thought the more
diabolical.
guys in the ring were the better. You know, the the ring announcer. A lot of folks don't realize, hey, your ring announcers in your ring more than anybody. I said the kid in Germany, I thought he looked great. He was in there with a nice suit on, a tie, and sometimes you see the guy, he's in shorts and a t-shirt. You know, your ring announcer, your ring is your stage. Spend some money on your stage. You know, your referee. I mean, your referee's important. If you have a manager out there, that adds to the mix. I
Yep.
like the more the merrier out there.
I'm the same way. I love the idea of having like a manager and just more action, more stuff to draw the fans' attention, right?
Right. Yeah, more going on.
Now, I do want to ask, first of all, you called Mr. Fuji diabolical, and that's something I've heard from a few people. I've heard that he was one hell of a ribber. Did he ever rib you, Jim?
No, I got along okay with Fuji. Yeah, he played cards with me. We got along pretty good. He didn't rib me. You know, he ribbed a lot of folks, but yeah, I didn't get ribbed too much, man.
I think everybody's scared of
Just
Hacksaw.
one time, Jake and I. Yeah, well, we denied it forever because the receipt was bad. Jake and I, we got locked into a building. We got out to our car. When we went to leave, there was gates. Somebody had closed the gates, padlocked the gates, locked us in. We were stuck there for a while. We were able to get out relatively quickly. And we knew the people that left before us was Sean and Marty.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, and you know Jake. Oh.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, son of a bitches, I'll break your fucking neck. I'll get son of man. Jake's no. We'll get them later.
Oh boy.
Hey, I'll pull their heads off. And so anyway, now it's, I don't know, probably a month later, we're somewhere and it's pouring rain, but the fans are all out there. And we get out of the show early, and we come out and there's their car, and Jake took toothpicks and toothpicked the locks on their car before you had the automatic opener. It's a toothpick in the lock and break it. There's no way a key's gonna open it. So then we pull up the other part of the parking lot. We're smoking a big bowl, right? And they're trying to open the fucking door in the rainstorm. People are all over. And of course, we denied it for years, man, because they had so much heat with so many people. He had plausible deniability. It wasn't me.
Could have been literally anybody in the company.
I don't want to say nothing about Jake, but
see, I feel like that's a fair receipt, though. After getting locked in the building, you're going to be late trying to get.
And
to
we
the
got
next
out
town.
relatively quick. They got stuck for quite a while, so we had a good laugh about it.
Rain and
But
fans.
we act surprised as shit the next day, you know.
Oh,
what happened? I bet it was Knobs.
That damn Knobs.
Knobs, he'd take a lot of heat. No, he did half the things he got blamed for.
Yeah, wasn't it kind of a thing? Everybody be like, "That must have been Knobs."
Yeah. That's the same way we do with drugs. Here, give it to Knobs.
Would he take?
See how he is in an hour. Just take one.
By the way, folks, still going on right now as we're recording this. There's a GoFundMe going on for Brian Knobs. You can find it on his social media. He's experiencing some medical difficulties, so please help him if you can.
Please help him out, folks, if you can.
All right, let's get to WrestleMania 6. It took place in Toronto, Canada, April 6th, 1990. And it was the first WrestleMania to take place outside of the United States. 67,000 fans in attendance for the event.
At the SkyDome.
Yes.
What an arena at the SkyDome. And I got home. My sister, I wish I had brought my dad. My dad wasn't feeling well, but he couldn't move too well. So we didn't bring him. But I brought my sisters, not knowing where the hotel was. We stayed at we got rooms at the SkyDome Hotel that overlooked the field.
Wow.
Unbelievable rooms. I mean, what a great venue. And I had my three older sisters with me, Marianne, Angel, and Sheila. And that was because that's not too far from Glens Falls, right over about 350, I would think, from Toronto.
Yeah.
So not too bad. So, it was great to be in that. It was a beautiful arena.
And
It still is,
absolutely
yeah, it still
jam-packed.
is. I think it's still there. A lot of the arenas I've wrestled in, Boston Garden, that's tore down. Philly Spectrum, that's tore down. Sam Houston Arena, that's tore down.
Igloo here in
The
Pittsburgh
Astrodome,
gone.
that's tore down. They're like, Duggan, don't come to our building.
Yeah, I'm starting to think it's you, Jim. Well,
Hey,
Kevin.
Marcus.
Sorry, I know. Big guys have big feelings too, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell in these pants, but yes.
I miss talking to you, Jim. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
So Kevin Nash has famously said that in this era before guaranteed contracts, the Mania payoffs kind of dictated what kind of a year a wrestler was going to have. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. And those guys, they were on a different level. I kind of knew where, I was going. It was good. It wasn't great, but, as Bobby Heenan says, compared to moving refrigerators at Sears,
It could definitely be worse.
it could be worse. Yeah. And I mean, at that time, the boys were getting screwed. You don't have a pension, you don't have health insurance. I'm like, well, it's not a surprise. After 40 years, I'm going, wait a minute. Where's my pension?
You knew coming in the door, right?
Yeah, you know that going in, so, yeah, we got a lot of time. And even the guys that got paid a lot were getting screwed. I mean, compared to what the kids are percentage art wise are making.
Oh,
But
yeah.
football players are making more baseball. Everybody's making more money now. But I'm sure a guy like Nash could tell, how his year was going to go, how well they were going to take care of him.
And
And
I
Vince
bring up,
kind of discovered Nash. He liked Nash,
oh, yeah. Well,
He
size,
liked
just
me
the
too. I
look.
mean, I got along good because I worked for his dad. I worked for the WWF. I met him as Big Jim Duggan, and yeah, he treated me pretty good. He gave me a little bonus when my daughters were born. He brought my dad over to England for Wembley Stadium. He flew my pop over. So
How cool.
yeah, he flew my dad. He flew Macho's dad. He flew Kurt Henning's dad all over.
Man, Vince has his moments, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I always could have been better, but as I tell folks, at 71 years old, I travel the world signing autographs. How bad of a business was it? It never would have happened without Vince McMahon. Bill Watts wouldn't got it there. Vern Gagne wouldn't have got it there. It's Vince McMahon that took wrestling to the levels it had. Not a great guy, not a good person, but as a businessman,
There's no equal. He's incredible what he's done for the business.
and his wife Linda was a big part of it too.
Yes. Now, Jim, most of us as human beings are never going to know what it's like to walk out in a stadium packed with close to 70,000 people. Also, there's a lot of pressure involved. It's not only the people, but it's Mania, and as we just discussed, this Mania payoff is like kind of going to show you what your year might look like. So I'm curious, Jim, what kind of what's the atmosphere like in that building?
Oh, the place is hot, man. And also talk about pressure. We're working in Toronto with a Canadian doing the American gimmick.
Yep,
You understand?
it's in
Think
my
about
notes.
it. Doug can go out and get the place going USA. And I
Pretty
did.
tough. Oh,
Yeah, I
you
got
did
out.
get him chanting?
They were chanting USA out there. At that point in history and time, people would chant USA. And especially even nowadays, people give me, when I'm overseas, they give me the USA chant kind of out a little sign of respect, But
Yep.
in the old days, they would chant USA. What I would do back when we were working, whatever country I'm working in, Austria, Germany, France, I would have a kid ringside with a French flag, Excuse me. And I come storming down, ho, USA, yo. Hey, we exchange flags, change the flag, give him the American flag, take the French flag, run around the ring, jump in the ring, place. Talk about a cheap pop.
Was that your idea? That's pretty smart.
I got 40 years in the business, brother.
That's good stuff, Jim.
No, yeah, but the easy pop and got the crowd with you, and they would get with it back in the day.
Yeah, you were in a tough spot here. You and Dino went about 4 minutes, and again, you're the baby face, but you're coming out waving an American flag. He is from Canada. Did you
And
have to work?
Fritzy Martin is his manager. There's another curveball. Holy smokes! I'm lucky they didn't stone me on the way out to the ring. Right? They might nowadays.
Now, did you have to work a little bit harder to get a reaction, or was it pretty immediate? You come out there excited to see
No,
Hacksaw.
when you can be sitting back there. I've said before, you're tired, you're lacing up your boots. It's been a long day. You've been on the road. You get to the curtain, you get your 2x4. Dun, 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 dun. Both up in the curtain. Oh, USA! It's just imagine having 70,000 people going with you. I mean, you can't put that in a needle, man.
No, it's got to be a feeling like none other.
No. And it's been great, and it was a point in my time, but it's not like, geez, I wish I could do it again. I had a good run, and I was glad to do it, and it was an unbelievable experience, and I was a lucky man to be able to do it.
Especially with your family there, man. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. Oh, and Deborah, of course, she was with me. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Considering just a few years ago, I was in Pineville Auditorium down in Louisiana.
I'm sure you've been
years later, I'm at the SkyDome with 70,000 folks.
Crazy. Some of those buildings you were working in Mid-South, I'm sure they had like the gimmick where you're showering with there's a garden hose over a board.
Shady dressing rooms, brother. Man, I've been in some bad dressing rooms, man. Yeah. And in Japan, I dressed in the back of a panel truck. Me, Rotundo, I'm trying to think, Steve Williams, and me, Rotundo, Barry Windham, and Steve Williams in the back of a panel truck. It was an outdoor show in Japan, out in a huge parking lot. And when your match would be ready, they'd open the back of the thing. You'd have to jump out of the truck.
Oh my gosh, unbelievable.
Yeah, everybody talks about, the Tokyo Dome, 80,000 people, we had it rocking. Yeah, but there's a couple of those shows where
along the way.
Well, I didn't like Japan too much. A lot of guys like Japan. Yeah, you do some bad shows too.
Now,
we talk to everybody. It was a sellout.
It's a 400 at some of these shows.
That sounds like my stand-up. Wrestler's Honor.
Now, you're going to pin Bravo after Jimmy Hart tries to slide him a 2x4. You intercept it, crack him with it, and you get the pinfall. After the match,
Jimmy was his manager.
Oh yeah, it
I mistakenly said it was Frenchie Martin. Okay, it was Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
What a great guy Jimmy was.
Jimmy's probably the one who got Bravo the heat.
2x4. Good. Yeah, I know that's a famous picture. It's a card, and I see a lot of 8x10s of me hitting Dino with my 2x4.
That's the one.
I hit it pretty good with it, man. Got to get your gimmick over.
Got to lay it in.
Front of a big house like that. So I laid it in pretty good.
Absolutely. But however, afterwards, Earthquake is going to jump you and hit you with a bunch of elbows and his ass splashes, that sort of thing. Man, John Tenta, he's just about to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I sure did. I kind of forgot about it. You said it though.
And what do you think about John going in? It's about time, isn't it?
Great, yeah, John, about time. Good guy. I mean, quiet guy, real deal. I was working with him one time, and I forgot it was like supposed to be 2 slams. We're going into the finish, and part of the finish was a slam, giving me the cover. So, and he gives me a slam. I go, give me the cover. He goes, we got another slam. Shit. Okay. And that's a big man to be slamming your butt,
Yes.
I got along good with Quaker, him and Typhoon, both big, strong. Those guys you see the muscle heads, those aren't powerful men. Guys like Tenta, one-man gang, Tugboat, those guys can push a lot of iron.
Yes. Yes. A lot of weight.
Powerful. They're just their girth. Big, heavy, strong men.
And I'd imagine that on those stiff rings back then, taking in 2 body slams from Earthquake probably didn't feel super great.
Well, I wasn't a big bumper anyway, brother.
Yeah, you were usually given the bumps.
Especially later on in the deal, I'm like, okay, that's the joke. That was a Nikolai bump. Before Nikolai, he would go down and stage.
Yeah, kind of on
It
his hip.
wasn't real crisp bumps, They want that crisp bump,
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna get one arm down onto a knee, roll over.
Now, last question. I'll let you go on this one, Jim. Earthquake he's still kind of brand new to the WWF at this time. He just debuted in the fall, and here he is. Man, a big kind of a killer heel. New guy like that. I know that a lot of guys might look at him as being kind of like a road grader to be getting in the ring with. How did you feel about working with Earthquake right out of the gate?
Yeah, well, I knew that's kind of my spot. They were grooming him to move up the ladder, so I knew I'd go ahead and beat Dino. He's going to come in and squash me, get the heat to move on. So I knew, I could see his direction going. So I wanted to do the best job I could, getting beat by him. I want him to beat the hell out of me. Where the guy, that Earthquake is killing Duggan. That's my job. That's what I want to do the best I could. But I could see him, he was moving on a different trajectory. But like I said before, we're not all lead singers in the band. I'm back there playing the drums, okay? Switch me, go to Hogan, lead singer.
Vince was ready to push him. And yeah, it is a good spot. And like to your point, the more you get it over, the more maybe fans are going to say like, well, I want to see what these two are doing, on this house show next week.
Well, that's your job, man. When you're supposed to put the guy over as strong as you can. That's why I always put Edge over. Because when I worked with Edge as an old timer, he put me over. He worked hard. He took the right bumps. I mean, he worked hard. He did a good job where he could have gone out there and gave me his B game. But if you're going to work with somebody, even if you work with old Hacksaw Jim Duggan, boom, he was taking bumps. He made me look good. And I mentioned that in my book where I thanked Edge for working with me like that.
The right way to do business. And
that's the right way to do business, yeah.
This episode was a blast, Jim. Man, it's 35 years ago. Hard to believe. And I know that a lot of fans still look back and love this WrestleMania. Really cool that you were part of such a huge show, isn't it?
Yeah, WrestleMania 3. This one, I was the golden age of wrestling. And to be part of that, I mean, especially as years go by, time's flying, and guys are fewer and fewer. It's like D-Day. How many guys are left? And it was great to be to see that transition from high school gyms and National Guard armories to the SkyDome, Wembley Stadium, to see the business move to that, to go back to Saturday Night Main Event and see where it is nowadays. I mean, what a great business.
Man, I can't wait to talk more to you about it. We'll be discussing 1990 more this year. We'll talk SummerSlam, Survivor Series, the whole 9 yards. I can't wait for it. Folks, in the meantime, if you can't get out to see Hacksaw Jim Duggan in person at one of his appearances, right above me right here is his Cameo link. So go ahead and scan that QR code. And then right above Jim, if I can get my finger in the frame, there it is a QR code for hacksawjimdugganshop.com. He's got signed 2x4s, 8x10s, the wrestling buddy like you see up there, trading cards. Man, get over there and check it out. There's nothing can replace seeing Jim in person. However, this is a good close second, right, Jim?
I have a good time, Mark. It's always nice talking to you. Thanks all you folks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the stories. Marcus, say hello to old Piper for me. And let's do a ho on the way out, brother.
All right.
Ho! We're going to work on that ho, my friend.
My ho needs a lot of work.
Hey.
See you guys next time.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.